Welcome to the preview for the last Conspirators case of the year, which will be delivered on Tuesday the 17th. If you've got the tasting box as well, fantastic. If you haven't and you want it, do go online and order it or send us an email and we'll just pop it on. If you're not a member of the wine club and you think, it's a very good idea to taste 4 bottles of wine with me and the rest of the conspirators who are turning up that night, do go online and buy it. And the tasting is on Thursday the 19th at 7 o'clock. It'll be great fun as ever. And the 4 wines that we'll be tasting are the 4 wines that are in the mixed case box. And they are Giustini, Avolia, Fiano. This is from Puglia, and it's just a really interesting little estate, really. Giustini's on generation number 2, or actually it's generation number 3, but they've worked very hard at buying up vineyards, and they're in a really interesting part of Puglia. They're just in the instep above Taranto, right on the coast, or an inland sea they're beside. So low altitude, hot, but cooling influence of the sea. And Fiano works there. It's a grape type which is one of Italy's great white grapes, and it nearly went into extinction if it hadn't been for I always mispronounce this, so excuse me. Mastro Berardino. I think that's probably right this time. But anyway, he's a very, very special producer up in Campania who luckily stuck to Fiano when so many others had almost given up on it. And it's now recognised as one of the great grapes of Italy, and it's performing extremely well in a climate change situation because it's got good acidity, it's got nice aromatics, lovely freshness, and wines like this, which are not meant to set the world alight. They're supposed to give you excellent drinking for very reasonable prices, and it does the job extremely well. Highly, highly recommended. So of all of the Pugliese whites, usually I don't recommend Pugliese white wine very much. Verdecca's, it's a nice wine, it's fresh, it's clean, it's there's nothing wrong with it. Locrotondo, Bianco, it's fun. Let's face it, we all love a Triuli. But really, Puglia is famous for rosé wines made from Negro Amaro, which are excellent. Primitivo, Negro Amaro, of course, Nero di Troia, Susu Maniello. These are the wines which Puglia is really rocking the world with. The white wines, I usually highly recommend that you don't buy Pinot Grigio from Puglia, or the Chardonnay is okay. Sauvignon Blanc is usually a disaster. Anyway, so that's the first of the white wines. The second of the white wines we are tasting. That's Pomario's Batticoda. Now, the Batticoda is a Gracchetto dell'Umbria. Well, it's Gracchetto di Todi, actually. That's a particular brand. And Pomario is a really interesting estate because the family, I'm going to do it again, Spallettieri family, they own a hotel, and they bought this as somewhere to retire to. It's supposed to be a retirement country house, and it all went desperately wrong. So they found old vines which were very, very special. They got some advice from their cousins and various other members of the family and friends, and discovered that there's actually some very high quality vines that were already there. The more they started to uncover, the more they started planting, and the whole thing got slightly out of control. And they've opted for biodynamic farming techniques, and Gracchetto is one of the grapes they've settled on, and this is their fresh opening level Gracchetto. And it's absolutely superb. Slight bitterness on the finish, lovely freshness, some good texture, good lime. As I say, it's organic registered, farmed on biodynamic principles. Just splendid, really. Well worth a shot. It's worth when you have a look at, when you get the notes through, just or even have a look at our website. I put a link to the Google Earth showing what it looks like from above. It's just in the middle of the most fantastic circle of forest. So the diversity is secure. There's no problem except from wild boar, of course, and deer and all that sort of thing. But you've got no neighbours to worry about here at all. You've just got the most amazing oasis in the centre of the forest. fantastic place, great wine, well worth a visit. It's that's that wine. Then we move to the first of the red wines, which this time last year I gave you the previous vintage, and it's the Plantamura, Parco Largo, Primitivo from Gioia di Colle. Now, there's Primitivo and there's Primitivo. Essentially, there are two big names in Primitivo. There's Primitivo di Manduria and Primitivo Gioia di Colle. Gioia di Colle is higher, it's a fresher style. So, of course, I prefer Gioia di Colle. I mean, you get more richness and power and earth from the wines of Manduria, but they tend to be hotter and more baked. Here you get, not Pinot-esque is pushing a little bit maybe, but you're getting much more elegance coming through on these wines. They're still big and bold and fantastic. And we love this estate. It's a family working with their daughters. It's the second year we've imported the wine. They only make 50,000 bottles. This one, they only make 20,000 bottles. By Pugliese standards, this is boutique winemaking. Well, actually, by any standards, this is boutique winemaking. They use no wood, so all stainless steel, 100% Primitivo. They've been organic since the start. Very, very good wines. Highly recommended. Really looking forward to tasting it, actually. And for Christmas time, let's face it, this is an absolute joy. And the vintage, I'm just checking what I'm giving you, actually, as far as vintages go. It's 2022. And it's tasting excellent. Even though it is fresh and young and it's ready to roll, it is ready to roll, actually. It's drinking really, really well. The last of the red wines, I've held this one back a little bit. I ordered a lot a couple of years ago, and we just reserved a chunk for Conspirators to use at some point, which has caused a tiny bit of a problem because we haven't got much left after this case. I hadn't realised quite what the number, you can never guess what the numbers of the wine club are going to be a year down the line. So it's the Demarie Langhe Rosso. It's got Dolcetto in it, it's got Barbera in it, it's got Nebbiolo in it. So it covers all of the great grapes of the Langhe, but basically it's based on Dolcetto. The previous edition was based on Barbera, and I think the Dolcetto works super well, really, really well, because it's quite hard for them to sell. Truthfully, it's quite hard to sell Dolcetto at the moment. But it's magnificent grape. And actually, if you do add the extra vines and you give a little bit of time in tonneau, which is large barrels, well, not that large, but twice the size of a barrique, so 550 litres usually, you can produce something really interesting with some real richness and some real power. So this is it's a proper Langhe wine with elegance, so Piemonte. It's the region very close to Barolo. They're just a tiny bit further north. You're getting a lot of power, a lot of richness, and actually some very elegant flavours for a stonkingly good price. Is very, very good wine. So I hope you enjoy it very, very much. It should be a really excellent tasting. And apart from that, other news, we've got the Piemonte tasting coming up. If you are a wine club member, you have 2 tickets each for free. So do make sure that you take them. Tell us which session you want to come to. Because we're in a different room this time, we're downstairs at St John Smith Square. So the church is upstairs and where we had the Tuscany event. But it's not unfortunate. I wanted to be downstairs. It looks like this downstairs. I'm in Biella at the moment. But downstairs is a crypt. We haven't quite got as much space as we had upstairs because you have the pillars supporting the church. So we've split it into 2 sessions, and the price is slightly higher just because the cost of the wines and the rental is slightly higher. So in terms of how we organise this tasting, please choose the time that you want to come. It's on I'm just going to double check, but I think it's the 8th of November. It is the 8th of November. We've got at the moment 6 producers coming, and they are all stunningly good producers, and we might get 2 more, who knows. We've had to cancel 2 just because up here in Carema and Donnas the vintage is running really late. So they're probably going to be, if not picking their grapes, certainly making their wine then. The wine will still be bubbling. So it's going to be fantastic. Can't wait. Wine Club members, please book. Non-Wine Club members, please join so you get a free ticket. Naturally, it'll cost far more than that to be a member of the Wine Club, but it's worth doing just for the free ticket. That was the other thing. We won with Decanter. We won Best Italian Specialist. And once again, the Wine Club came second, which is consistent. We've entered 3 times. We've come second 3 times. I should be really pleased with that. But I'm going to try and make the club better. Oh, I always do. Anyway, hope you're all really well. Thank you very much for listening. And I will see you on Thursday for the tasting and hopefully on Wednesday, the 8th of November for our Piemonte tasting in Westminster. Okay, bye.